Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kevin. She's Stevie.
Hi.
And, Steve.
Hi.
We're going to talk about Halloween this week. Happy Halloween.
Happy
This
Halloween.
is just coming out a couple days before Halloween. I'm not going to ask you about your week, because I know we talked about that last week.
Thank God.
Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about this. I was kind of thinking about it last week, and I told you that I thought Halloween would be a fun thing to talk about. And I was at work the other day, and I've gone to the point where I don't listen to. We've talked about radio and like the things we kind of don't like about radio a lot. So I've gotten to the point where used to we would just have the radio on at work. And
Which work?
At the bank.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Because I can't with the station. I don't really have the. I'm doing a lot of writing and stuff, so I don't really have the capacity to listen to music at the same time. But at the bank, used to we just had the radio on all the time. Well, I've gotten to the point where I just put my phone on and I just put it on like Spotify or a playlist or something like that I have.
Okay.
So I don't have Spotify, but I have YouTube Music. It's the same, whatever. Anyway. I did that the other day, and I was like, okay, well, it's getting close to Halloween, so let's put on a Halloween playlist. Let's see what they have on a Halloween playlist. And it played like maybe a total of 5 songs, and I stopped it because I didn't know like 3 of them or something. So I stopped the playlist, and I just went to what I had for Halloween, which was a lot of the same stuff that I know. And it made me think about, like, what do you think is a good Halloween song?
I've never been one that, like, I don't feel like Halloween has its own genre of music. Other than Monster Mash.
Well, I'm not saying that it has to be
really making Halloween music, you know?
I mean, it doesn't have to be, like, specifically for Halloween, because the one that I thought of immediately was Thriller.
Like that you would put that on a playlist for Halloween. Yeah, and that's a good one too, but that's not something I've ever even...
I've never thought about.
Well, I just feel like people, like in school, I remember people being like, can we play Halloween music? And the teacher was always like, what's a Halloween song? And we were all like, I don't know. And they were like, okay, then no. Like
just kind of like spooky music or whatever, just kind of like that theme. I know we had, when I worked at Pier 1 years ago, we always had, we had like CDs that they would send us, and that would be, you would play it in the store. That's how they did the music in the stores. And we had a Halloween one every year that was like 50% what they would consider Halloween music. And it had songs like, I Put a Spell on You was in there always, and like, there was a song called The Devil Inside that wasn't bad. But there was like spooky type things. Monster Mash was pretty much always on there. And things kind of like that, like around that, style. And I looked at the playlist that I had on from YouTube, the Halloween one, and it kind of had some of that stuff on there, but there was also things like Highway to Hell by AC/DC, which I was like, okay, I mean, I get the name falls like into, that, but I didn't really think of that as like a Halloween thing.
There's one song, do you know the song Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell?
With Michael Jackson, that has Michael Jackson in it?
It sounds like Michael Jackson, but it's by like Rockwell,
Yeah. Does it not have Michael Jackson? Because I would swear that Michael Jackson is the one singing.
It sounds a lot like Michael Jackson. It says Rockwell. I've always thought the same thing, and every time I listen to it, I'm like, this sounds like Michael Jackson. And the cover doesn't look like Michael Jackson either.
Well, I get that.
Like the picture doesn't. It looks like a different guy.
But like when the person's singing it in the verses, it doesn't sound like the same. Like it's not the same person singing the chorus.
Maybe he's featured. It's never said featured in my life.
Because it doesn't. It sounds like Michael Jackson.
You know what song I'm talking about.
Yes, I know exactly.
I would put that in there. Or like, there's a lot of songs that don't have lyrics that I would put in that I couldn't tell you the names of, but like...
Yeah, like just kind of like spooky sound songs, yeah.
Songs that I just watched Willy Wonka the other day, and there's a lot of like the intro's got a really like intense kind of almost spooky music, or like I would put like instrumentals.
Yeah, the other one that I thought of along with Thriller was Ghostbusters theme song.
Yeah, that's...
Because it's like, that's I mean,
sure, that one would fall under that category, I think.
So my question was, did you have one that's like over? I mean, obviously you haven't thought about this, so, but do you have one that you can think of that would be like your number one? This is like what I think of when I think of music like that, like spooky music or Halloween music.
Monster Mash.
Monster Mash?
1,000%.
Okay.
That's the only one I could think of. Or like a song from like The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Halloween. That's
Exactly.
yeah, stuff like that is good too.
Other than that, maybe Beetlejuice. The song in the movie where he's like, you just have to say it 3 times, like that part.
Okay.
Because it's like kind of a spooky movie, but not. It's like for kids. You know, it's not too scary.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what the new Beetlejuice 2 how that ends up being whenever it comes out.
I think that'll be good.
But yeah, that was just one of the things I thought about with Halloween coming up. So, what I told you to think about Halloween topics. What did you come up with for?
So,
like, what did you think of? What were you thinking about with Halloween, spooky season?
Doesn't really have anything to do with like spooky, but I know we've kind of talked about like our favorite candies on here already, and we've had that debate. But like the classic candies that you were getting as a kid, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
One, what was the candy? Did you organize them in any way?
I don't think so. I think they just stayed in a bucket. Were there any that you were like, these could go? And were there some that were like, oh, I'm gonna save these? Or did you ever trade with people and be like, I know you weren't that close in age with like your siblings, but would you ever be like, oh, I'll give you any of, these because I hate these for like a Snickers or a Twix or something better? Don't remember.
Oh, man.
Because I don't really... I mean, I can tell you what I would guess from like what I like and what I don't like. I would say Twizzlers were always going away.
Oh, 1,000%.
I don't like Twizzlers at all.
Same.
But my mom does, so she might have, And I would say, if I had to guess the way our Halloween candy worked, because I don't really remember. It's been a long time since I would have gone trick or treating.
Yeah.
And like I kind of remember Halloween costumes and a little bit of going trick or treating as a kid, but I don't remember the details of like what candy I got or anything like that. But I would guess that our Halloween candy was just like, it was in a bucket on the kitchen counter, and then if somebody wanted a piece, they just grabbed it out of there, and that's just what it was. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just there for the whole family, so if anybody wanted anything, you just grabbed a piece out of it or whatever.
Did you have, like, favorites, though?
I mean, my favorite candy bar is going to be Twix, so little Twix things are probably going to be my favorites. But yeah, Twizzlers would have definitely gone by the wayside. Yeah. Those popcorn ball things that are... Nope.
You didn't like them?
Nope.
So...
I saw those at the store when I was at the store the other day, a big bag of them. Yeah. I'm like, why is this
That's so funny you bring that up.
To me, it's not as bad, but it makes me think of, like, Peeps. It's just kind of got...
Popcorn?
Well, no, it's not the same thing, but it's just got the same, like... To me, it's just got the same vibe of like, why is this even here?
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
Like the ones that are like held together.
Yeah. It's like a ball of popcorn.
Yeah.
It's like a ball
oh my
of
god,
popcorn.
I loved those.
A sphere of popcorn.
One year I had one. This is how I found out tragically, but I had one that had like red dye on it. You know, sometimes popcorn's like dyed different colors. Like they put something on it and it's like red or whatever.
Yeah.
And one year I got one that was red and it like broke my whole face out and it like burned. So I guess I'm allergic
to red whatever dye or
whatever they had put on that specific popcorn. Okay. I'm sure maybe they've done something different with the recipe. I don't know because I've eaten other dyed popcorn and been fine. But just the regular popcorn, oh my gosh, I loved those. And I didn't get them very often. They were kind of like a treasure. But I will say, the candy that to this day, I don't understand people who like them are Whoppers.
Yeah.
I think they are so chalky and gross.
Yeah.
And those and like any type of like gummy candy, just because I always wanted the chocolate, those were the first to go.
Okay.
If I had to trade with someone, I would be like, oh, what kind of chocolate are you working with that I could trade? I like any of this for.
Okay. I mean, I like gummy worms and gummy bears and things like that. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the gummy candies. Now some of the like generic kind of whatever ones I don't care for, but just like if you give me usually gummy worms or the little, like they have little packs of the mini gummy worms, which I do like because they're usually sour gummy worms or whatever.
Yeah, and I like them too, but if it comes to that or chocolate,
you're gonna go chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, every time. Do you have any costumes that you remember being, or like?
So I have a picture of me as a clown.
Okay.
But I don't remember being a clown. I have a picture of me as a clown, but I don't remember.
I have stories like I know I was this when I was.
I'm pretty sure I was a firefighter one year as a little kid. Okay. And I remember being Darth Vader.
Okay, I was two different. Oh wait. No, I wasn't. I almost misspoke. I was. Oh, what's her name? Oh no. I was Queen Amidala one year, and it was sick. My dad loved Star Wars, and I think even more at this time when I was like 3 or 4 probably. Mm-hmm. And so they painted up my face like white, the white, and I had the head, like the crown that like wrapped all around my head, and I had like it was a pretty legit looking costume. Okay. And I remember that one, like kids really liked it. Like kids would see me and be like, pass me on the street and compliment it and whatever. So I knew that was a good one. Yeah. But, and you are saying you don't really remember, so I don't know if you had this experience, but you kind of knew which costumes
were good and which ones were bad?
Just based on the reaction and like how many other of them there were that year, because if it was really popular, people were like, oh, another one.
Like, there's going to be like, this is
the year of Barbie.
Yeah, well, for sure this year's going to be a Barbie year. Yes.
Or like, just if you bought just like a generic little pack at Walmart that was like Spirit Halloween brand, this includes 4 things here. You have at it. So like those were always okay, they're fine. I did those plenty of times, but the ones where like we got the costume, but then we made stuff for it, and I did makeup, and I did my hair a certain way, were always the best. And one year, I remember, I was the Mad Hatter, which that's cool. I already love. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. We know this. And it wasn't really, like, I feel like now it's a little more common. You would think, oh, maybe someone's the Mad Hatter, Alice from the movie, whatever. But for some reason, it was just not popular at this time. I don't think the live action had come out yet. The Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland had come out yet. This was probably like 2008 or 2007. Okay. So I was the Mad Hatter, and I was obsessed with it, and we made my face look great, and it was just it was the best. I had this big huge hat, and I remember I'd knock on their doors, and they were just like they were like clapping for me, and the one guy was like, I'm gonna give you 8 pieces of candy. This is an awesome costume. And I remember that so well, and I couldn't top it after that. That was my.
Do you have any pictures of these? I want to see. I mean, you don't have to show me now, but I want to see them.
Maybe we could post them.
Yeah, we can post
somewhere.
them or put them in the video or something.
I'll have to look on like my parents' Facebooks, because I don't think I have them. I have a couple other costumes, but none of the good ones.
Okay. Well, you may have to do that after we get done so that I can put them in the video for YouTube too, because that would be fun.
Don't hold it to me, because I also might not be able to find them.
But. Yeah, that's fine. If we get them, we'll show them to you. If not, then sorry. That was my other. That's one of the things that I thought of too. Was like, what was your favorite Halloween costume? Yeah. I feel like Halloween costumes, like a lot of things in recent years, have gotten more intense. Okay. And people have not necessarily like more gruesome and things, but just like people go a lot more all out than they used to, maybe. And I also feel like people try to do their own thing now a lot because than what they used to.
And I like that. I like when people do like a pun instead.
It's more fun. It's interesting, I think, because it gives you more variety in what people are doing. Now, again, this year I think Barbie's gonna I think you're just gonna see a billion Barbies walking around. Mm-hmm. But Barbies and Kens. Yeah. Yeah. But which is fine. Like that was a big thing. But it'll be interesting to see what Halloween looks like. I know you're not gonna like this, but. You don't really go trick or treating anymore because you're 22 years old. Yeah. But for the kids, the little ones, it's going to be cold for Halloween.
Yeah, and that's another topic.
So what do you think about like
sweatshirts?
Yeah, what do you do when it's cold? Because it's gonna be like in the probably low to mid 30s is what it looks like for like Halloween night when kids are up trick or treating. So I think Halloween needs to be cool. Like I think it needs to be cool because if it's like 70 degrees, it's weird.
Right.
But what do you do to stay? Because you want your costume to be shown off.
Right.
So what do you do to warm up? Like what do you do to stay warm?
Well, I think we need to start really like planning in advance, and I think like especially I think a lot of costumes that are just built for like little boys are usually easier to keep warm because they're like bodysuits almost like onesies, and they're like long sleeve, and you can like throw a hoodie under that or a sweatshirt under.
Whereas like
a
princess costume is
short sleeves, probably the material's probably not only see-through and you'd have to wear something under it anyway, it's probably very thin. So I have a little bit of a bone to pick there, clearly. It is what it is. I don't think that's a thing that's done on purpose, but just from experience, the costumes I wore as a kid,
the costumes are.
There were like a few falls where I did have to like wear a jacket over, and yeah, it ruins it. It's like, this isn't my costume anymore. I might as well just dress up as a person in a sweatsuit.
So what about like wearing the jacket from house to house and taking it off as you walk up to the door?
I think that's a fine idea. I think get a costume that is maybe like a size too big and throw on layers under.
Okay.
Or just throw on, it doesn't even have to be too big. You can start with like layering up under it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if it is like really, really cold, like 30s, like hopefully everyone does trick-or-treating a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I would go to my own neighborhood. Sometimes we drive to like my grandparents' neighborhood or a completely different neighborhood I didn't even live in. And we couldn't always like go inside of a house for a while. But if you get a good route, maybe, start here.
Stop at home every once in a while.
Go home every like 5 houses and just warm up and maybe have some hot chocolate or something. I don't know.
Well, I think too, it's a lot easier to find and get a hold of like that spandex material type stuff. It's like thermal, so that helps too, I think, because that's thin. You can put it on under anything pretty much, and that'll keep you warm as long as you don't have like a sleeveless, legless costume or whatever. But,
as a kid, you're over it. Like I think it does genuinely alter and hurt the experience of trick-or-treating. As a parent, I'm sure you're 5 years old. You're not going to remember this. Just put on the freaking jacket. And I don't have children, so I don't know how that would feel, arguing with my kid about whether you're going to wear a jacket or not. I probably would just say, you need to. That's the rule. Mm-hmm. But I would try to make it as cohesive with their costume as possible.
Yeah. That makes sense. But, I don't know. Like I said, most of my costumes were, full on, like, cover. Being Darth Vader, I was wearing a cape, and a face mask and everything else. So you're pretty enclosed in that. You're not going to get super cold.
Yeah. Do you have any traditions?
For Halloween?
Yeah. Or did you?
No, not that I remember, really. We just would go trick-or-treating. I think we almost always went to my grandparents' house at some point, and they had like basically just candy they would give out candy to people, but they always just had like half a bucket of candy just sitting there for us to take home, basically. Yeah. So
did you ever, if you can remember, I'm sure everyone gets to a point that they prefer this, but did you ever prefer to give out the candy?
Yeah.
I think
when you get older, it's a little.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, you're kind of over trick or treating and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I always had fun. But when I started to get older, we started to we moved kind of outside of the city, not in a neighborhood anymore. So we stopped. We didn't really get trick or treaters because we lived in a smaller area where there wasn't really people. We would still have candy, in case. And you'd get like maybe 3 or 4 kids throughout the entire night. But, it's also fun if you are in that situation because you get to see all the different costumes as well.
No, I enjoy
and that's
that.
what's fun, and that's fun too.
Yeah, I wish people like trick or treated here. I'm sure that will never happen, but it's like apartment complexes, so
Yeah.
I'm sure people just don't really do that. But I haven't lived in a house where people come for candy in like since like 5th grade. No. Okay. Honestly, actually, when did we move? My dad and I moved to, because he lives in like a condo complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once again,
it's like an apartment almost.
and it's not in a neighborhood. It's like right next to a high school.
Yeah.
And then it's next to like maybe like, oh, it's like a block of maybe houses on each side.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not where young families are living.
Yeah.
And so, and then there's not really any other, like then the neighborhoods aren't really walking distance from us beyond that point. So no one ever came to trick or treat like to us when I was in high school. And that kind of bums me out. Like, I hope I can like live in a house one day where people are trick or treating, because I do enjoy that.
I also think, I think people still go out to houses and trick or treat, but I think it's a little less than it used to be because of
Perhaps.
you don't really know what you're gonna get when you knock on the door.
Yeah.
And there's so many now things where like, okay, the trunk or treat things, or like, here, come to the, cities will have the fire stations will all set up, and you go from one to the other, you go to one, and they've got a bunch of different things going on. Or I think they do a lot of that kind of stuff now too, that makes it a little probably safer in some instances. Just again, because not saying that everybody's unsafe, but going up to random people's houses, you never really know what you're going to get sometimes.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's a crazy like thought.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, it's kind of interesting you just walk up to somebody's house and knock on the door and ask for candy.
Right.
Ask for free candy. But
do you remember the last time you went?
The last time I remember going, I would have been. The last time I remember going I would have been in 1st or 2nd grade.
That's sad.
So I don't remember going after that, but that doesn't mean I didn't.
Sure.
I just don't remember any of them after that.
So I was 16, but I didn't really go. This is more just, it's kind of a funny story, but I didn't really go trick-or-treating. So it's a bit of a bizarre scenario. My friends, there's like a group of 4 of us. It was me, my friend Lily, shout out Lily, and then like these 2 of our guy friends. And Lily and one of the guys like just put on like their jerseys for like whatever sport they played, and they're like, I want some candy. So we went and they just went and got some candy. But I had at this time, in high school you take that class and like you have to like take that baby home. And it like cries.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but yeah.
Not everyone does, but you know what that.
I know what you're talking about.
So I had the baby while they were trick or treating, and oh my gosh, it's so bizarre. I'm like walking around and I'm like, okay, surely I can just like walk around for a little bit, and I'm like carrying the baby. It's crying the whole freaking time. We're like trying to walk around trick or treat. I look like I'm actually have with child.
Yeah.
And I kept having to like go sit in my car and like pat its back and like try to figure out, the stupid thing. I hated that thing. I did not do well on the project. But you shouldn't be giving teenagers babies, first of all. Let's start there.
Yeah.
But anyway. So then
teaching opportunity,
I guess. So I'm like in my car trying to figure out, you have to like take this bracelet and like ding it on like its mouth, its back.
Yeah.
And try to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah.
So you can fix it and it'll stop freaking crying. And then we wanted to like take a group picture just at the end. Don't know why. It was the craziest experience.
You want a picture?
And then we just weren't like, that group of people would have never hung out other than that day. It was just so weird. And so it's like my friend and this guy that are like trick-or-treating, and then me and another guy that are just kind of like hanging back, and we're at his neighborhood, the guy that's just hanging back with me.
Okay.
And his mom came home, and we were like, can you take a picture of us? Baby starts crying while we're trying to take this picture. And then his mom is like, I got it. And I'm like, it was a fake baby. Like, you don't actually have to, just do this. Immediately stops crying. And I'm like, is there really like a trick that I'm just missing? Is there really like an instinct that this actual mom has that I'm just lacking?
I mean,
I'm 16.
The mom's probably gonna get it a little bit because she's a mom. She's dealt with it.
Yeah, it's a toy though.
I get it, but it's got to be based on some sort of reality.
Sure, it was just
it's
such
for a teaching thing.
Bizarre experience, but that was the last time and I didn't really go trick or treating, but I could have gone as a single mom. That could have been my costume.
There you go.
Represent.
Oh man. So give a shout out. Okay.
I did.
We talked about shout outs. What you did?
I just gave one to my friend Lily.
Yeah. So I've got another one to do real quick.
Okay.
Before we
go. Oh, did someone comment?
So nobody commented, but I was talking to somebody. I was talking to Tom, who listens.
Yeah.
Tom, hello. Who listens, and he worked at the station with him, and he thought the pickles were hilarious.
Really?
Yes. But he wants you to try. He wants.
Tom.
He wants you to try pad thai.
Pad thai?
Pad thai. I think it's pad thai. Is it pad thai?
Like the noodles?
No.
Oh.
It's like I always call it, because this is what it is in Germany, and it's basically the same thing. Braunschweiger.
I've had that.
You've had that?
You gave it to me at work.
Did I?
You made me try it.
Yeah.
You didn't make me, but you were like, I have this stuff. Yeah, and we put it on crackers.
Okay.
I bought it one time.
Did you like that?
It's fine.
Okay.
I wouldn't buy it.
Well, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But that was something that he thought would be funny to see you try. But if you've tried it, then it's not.
Oh, yeah. You've made me try it. Sorry, Tom. Kev's memory failed you. I've already tried it.
I don't know. We did that at the station once with a couple people, and it was comical.
Braunschweiger?
Well, he had pad thai. It's basically the same thing. It's ground up beef livers. Yeah. That's what it is. So it's not, but
my family's from Philly. We eat Scrabble. Scrapple. I think that's what it's called.
Scrapple?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen that. I've never had it.
Which is a bunch of suspicious meat.
Everything that was everything that was left.
Yeah.
Ground up and put into a loaf, basically, like a meatloaf.
For breakfast.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, hey, whatever. But that's what he thought. But anyway,
come up with something else.
So, Vertigo.
Yeah.
What did you think? We watched Vertigo.
Yeah.
When is Vertigo from? But anyway, what did you think?
Very interesting concept.
Okay.
It was like a little hard for me to follow, like the first half-ish. I was just kind of like, what does this have to do with having vertigo? Like, I don't know why. I was kind of stuck on the title throughout the movie.
I don't think it had anything like.
No, it didn't. I mean,
there's a couple parts where it does, but
he falls off the roof.
Yeah.
In the very beginning scene, and then the ending scene, he's like looking down.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But I just was, I guess I don't know. I was kind of stuck on the title. Like, why? What does this have to do with vertigo? But I liked the concept. I thought it was like nothing I had really seen before, and I liked the use of like they put a little bit of animation in this movie.
In the middle of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was like a weird like fever dream in the middle of it, which was kind of interesting.
That's kind of my genre. Like that's what I like that kind of weird fantasy type thing.
Okay. 1958. By the way. Vertigo 1958. Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, sorry. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
The second half was definitely weird. Like once you got to that fever dream thing, it kind of like it got a little weirder and a little kind of all over the place. But I did like it. Once the big reveal, and you realize what happened.
Right, that it was all set up.
That was all set up.
And that did get me to, you guys know, this is 1958. You've had plenty of time to watch it.
It's a little old, but once you get the big reveal that it was all like planned, and that the woman that
so he never loved
the real Madeline.
This was all to figure out this murder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, the husband.
That's what I thought.
The husband put him as not really a fall guy, but the guy to witness a suicide so that he could
he could
get rid of his wife.
My wife's committed suicide. Yeah.
Yeah. And he fell in love with the woman who was playing his wife the entire time.
But not actually.
Not actually.
Because, he just wanted to get close to her so he could kind of have an end that wasn't a planned one from the guy trying to kill his wife.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy story. But once I figured that out in the end, I did like his character more because I was getting a little creeped
Weirded out. Well,
he was like
he's trying to change that other
this
girl.
woman to be a different woman so that he can love her because he loved this other woman that's now dead. That was weird.
Well, also the fact that the other girl dies at the end is interesting too. So that's kind of a weird, just like he ends up falling in love with a woman who he thinks dies, and then
but not really
ends up killing her at the end of the movie. Is an interesting.
Yeah, he has to pretend to be in love with this woman to figure out a crime, and then this woman dies, and this woman actually did love him, which puts a whole nother layer into the story. I need justice for, I forget her name, but the lady that was like the fashion designer and like the painter. The one that clearly
was
liked
actually
him.
in love with him. Yeah, that liked him.
Yeah, justice for her.
Yeah, because she kind of like...
We don't even hear about her after
she
last
was...
scene where she gets upset.
Yeah, because she was just kind of... She almost seemed like just a throwaway character.
For sure.
And it was kind of like, I liked her as a character.
Yeah.
I thought she was a interesting character with some of the stuff that she did. So,
and like, I think in the first half, they were giving her a lot of story.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, you know...
Yeah, but in the second half of the movie, she shows up once when he's in the mental hospital, and she's there, and then I don't think you see her. I don't know that you see her again in the rest.
No, we don't. I didn't. Not that I can remember.
So
I liked that character.
Yeah, that was a good movie. So I have a question. We've talked about this before. So with this movie, where did you watch it? Did you find it somewhere?
Oh, Apple TV. Where did you watch it? Well,
in my living room. Oh, yeah. No, I got that.
I don't know. Maybe I could have watched it anywhere.
So was it
Apple TV?
Did you just rent it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I watched it on Prime.
It was on Prime?
You had to rent it or buy it. So this is one where we've talked about like before. At what point do you buy it or just rent it? Because it was.
I'm not buying any of these.
Oh, I bought this one because I'm just like, well, it was like $2 more to buy it. So why wouldn't?
Oh, not on Apple TV. It was like $20 to buy it.
Oh no, it was $3.99 to rent it or like $6 to buy it. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Like, why would I rent it for the same price? And I know that's the way they get you. That's how they get you on this kind of stuff. But it's just like, this is one of those instances where I'm just gonna buy the movie because, I mean, it costs the same basically to buy it as it did to rent it. So why would I?
Well, that's like saying, if you wanted to rent it again, but do you think you'd watch this again?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. I just know that I won't.
But see, if I ever decide to or ever go back and want to,
that's true.
I have it, and why would I spend basically the same money to only be able to watch it for 48 hours when I can spend $1 more and have it for forever?
Yeah, I could be wrong about that. Maybe I just assumed because all the other movies I've ever tried to buy are. And
I don't know what Apple TV on here says it's $1 on what I'm looking at on Google or whatever. So
it is not $1.
Well, to rent it, was it $1 to rent it?
I don't think so. I think it was like $2.99.
No, well, it says $1 on here. Watch now. But I don't know.
Well, I can't figure it out because I still have it rented right now, so it doesn't tell me. So next week. We're watching Cabaret.
And I've never seen
Liza Minnelli.
Yeah.
Love her.
So if you guys want to watch it with us, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment. We'll, again, try to shout you out in our next episode. But hope you guys have a happy Halloween. And we'll see you talk to you next week.
Bye.